Now you're welcome. If you're just tuning in, we are discussing the role of mindset and environment in business success. What are your thoughts on this topic? Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Tweet at us at Ways Africa Show 1 with the hashtag Ways Show, or SMS or WhatsApp to 08180384663. Back to you, gentlemen, and we're still on the topic of mindset. So there's one question I want to touch on and bring back is when you decided that you wanted to step out. Were the conditions right? By that I mean, what was the mark? What did you see to say, okay, we're going to step out? Because you were in a secure place, you were getting commissions, somebody was taking the risks of all the transactions, and you could have stayed there for longer. Okay, so why did you decide that, oh, we have seen the light, we're going to do this on our own, and we're going to just break out? I would go to Lukman for that.
All right, thank you. So I think that as at the time we left our former place of work, we had done about 3 years.
Wow.
We've done about 2 years with them. We started with the organization when they started out. We had done about 3 years with them. As at that time, I was the acting head of sales. So learned quite a number of things about sales transactions within the industry, taking up a lot of projects, especially the ones that the company was doing as at that time. I also had the opportunity to, take on many other projects outside. So one of the things that struck me, I think it was time to leave, was something that I first nursed a year before I left. So I'd nursed it a year before I left. I had rebooked it, thinking that it was not God's will. Because I would like to say that I'm a child of God. And then you know how this stuff do not just happen. You have to also be sure that it is what you need at that time. Mm-hmm. And I'd fought it because I was doing comfortably well. My boss used to jokingly say that I was earning more than him because, salespeople have a way of making commissions just like that. And then I was earning a good salary and everything was going fine. But trust me, it is better to take, the best decisions should be taken even when you are comfortable, not when, because comfort can be a disadvantage when it allows you to see into the future. So for me, I knew that it was time for me to go. If I had not left that place, I probably have lost my relevance. So I think that was what propelled me, was the fact that I was so convinced within me that this was time for me to go. And I just left.
Wow.
Okay.
I'll say.
I have a question for you, but I'll hold on to that and come to Bayo first. So let's talk about real estate. That's where you play. Let's look at that industry. What would you say is the major problem now? Because I know during the pandemic, I had conversations with people in real estate, and some of them were saying that happened to be the best time for real estate, regardless of some other sectors complaining. So what's your take on that, and what is the state of real estate in Nigeria at the moment?
Okay. So thank you for that question. Actually, the pandemic actually worked in favor of real estate. Actually, I would say that for a certain number of reasons, the stock was crashing. A lot of things were just going haywire. And the best way, so the best way to preserve your fund and to make sure that you get better value for it was to put it in something that you could control and that could give you some level of value. So a lot of people started pulling in into real estate as the better option. So looking at some of the challenges that we have currently in Nigeria in real estate, number one is infrastructure. We have something that, for example, when you go for inspections, the roads, they are bad, they're terrible. When you talk about electricity in Nigeria, there's a whole lot of things that we are actually suffering in the industry, and which is not allowing a lot of real estate companies to actually thrive. Another challenge that we have is multi-taxing. Tax that we are paying. You pay 7.5%. After that, you still be the one to do the road in front of your estate. Sometimes you still have to bear the burden of getting a transformer to get a light down to your people.
You're forgetting water.
And a whole lot of things. So you can imagine all of that. That is double cost. After you have paid government to do that for you, yet you still have to go and do that. Another thing is regulation. You know, at a point in Nigeria, I feel that the real estate industry has to be regulated because yearly, only in Lagos, we have over 500 people running into scam because the industry is not yet well regulated. So one of the things that need to be done by government is to bring a level of sanity into the industry in order for people not to consistently lose their funds.
Okay, so we have a couple of messages from our viewers, and I'll let Elsie take some, but let me just take this first one. It says, good evening, ladies. Good evening. It's quite difficult to find collaborations these days as everyone wants to be a boss. What can we do to change the mindset of our own boss and end up struggling all by yourself and eventually give up? So I think, let me just take that again. What can we do to change the mindset of my own boss and end up struggling all by myself and eventually give up? That's from Wurola. I think so what she's talking about is that, and that's why that question was very important that I asked you, that were you just feeling that you wanted to be your own boss, you know, of just breaking? And I think that's the confusion. You just leave because, you know, like a hairstylist, I've learned all these styles, so let me just break out without counting the cost. I like the fact that you talked about working on your decision for about a year before you actually left. So what advice would you give to Wurola?
Well, I think
Lukman?
that, you know, living, you know, is not as easy as even getting a job. And a lot of people need to know that because this is an organization that you might have been for a while. You're already a part and parcel of them. My boss was more or less like my brother. And he's somebody that has invested deeply into me. So there was an emotional part of my exit. And we made sure that when we wanted to tell him, it was the first person that we told. Because if we had told somebody else, it might have broken him. And while we were discussing with him, we looked into his eyes and, come on, we saw that this man was not happy. And he told us that, I'm deeply broken. He kept telling us that
Nobody wants to lose their best hands.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to lose their best hands.
So for us then, we had to be careful about it. They gave, of course, we submitted our letters. When we told him we had about 2 weeks, you know, to prayerfully leave. And we also had to make some commitment on our own part. That, okay, we are going to be careful with other guys who might want to use our own as excuses to misbehave. We might also want to be careful with our customers and how we handle them.
Okay, so let's just take more of the questions so we have time to talk.
Joy from Abuja says, how can I start business in real estate? I think that's like a very broad question. It's briefly. And another question, maybe you take that, says, what's the biggest challenge you have faced for the past 5 years?
Exactly.
But take the first one.
Okay, so how can you start? One of the things I will ask you to do is to go and learn. Yes, you see, as we are now, we are learning some things on the job. I know how many hours sometimes I spend at night reading up stuff on the internet. There is a whole lot of things you need to read up. So the first thing I want to say, go and learn. Make sure that you understand certain things. The industry is broad. So there are many things to even... Real estate is big. So I don't know what angle you want to come in. I don't know which sector in which you want to play under the real estate umbrella. It's big. So the first thing I want to advise you to do is try as much as possible to learn. It's important.
That's very key.
What's my question?
Your challenges for the past 5 years.
Well, I think one of the greatest challenges that every real estate person has faced, including us, is sales.
You closed 70 million.
Yes, but that's
Today, we don't know. We don't know. Please let me just lace that question so that you can just answer it all at once because they're related.
Okay.
So when you tell us your greatest challenge,
Challenges.
please tell us, has there been a time both of you were thinking, did we do wrong to live where we were? So people get to hear the truth. You know, people just think that, so they just left, they've been selling like 100 million every day, every month. So please tell us your story, your true story.
Okay, so let me say that from the onset, the greatest challenge has been sales. The greatest challenge may still be sales. Sales is one big thing that we might not even be able to discuss here. It's not as easy as it seems, truth be told. And anybody can do well in real estate of today if you have a team that can sell to you, for you. Forget it. Because you can always assemble the engineers and the site guys, because sales is basically the funding. You can practically do well in virtually any industry if you have enough funding, right? So, and getting the team, you are going to wrongly pay some people's salaries. You are going to change tires along the line. You are going to recruit some people. In that process, you are going to use customers' money up and down. So when we started, we find it very difficult to even, get money to do certain things. We had to come up together and use our initial capital, gather some money together, buy our weight. We just have to close our eyes and do this. So we did that. And then we walked up to some of our customers and we promised them that, do this for us, we'll give you, in 3 months, we'll give you 10%, we'll give you 20%, just because we wanted them to support that dream. And to God be the glory, it worked. And eventually, we have some subscribers who now believed in us. So, and that's how it has been so far.
Wow.
Okay.
So you built up on your trust capital.
Yeah.
So I want to take you back to something you said why you started your story regarding passion. You're passionate about helping people. I know you ran away from passion because of poverty. So now that you are here,
It's passion with money. But
do
let
you
me
think
say,
you're going to go back to your passion at some point? Are you doing anything in that regard?
Well, I will not say my passion per se. I will say that's just passion. Let's not say passion. Okay. And some of the things that influences our passion usually are, let's say, our experiences. So for me, I came from a background where I lost my mom and my dad while I was quite early. The first time I was in the 4 walls of the classroom was in primary 4. So I didn't go to KG, nursery, everything I'm saying outside of primary 4.
wow.
So I had that experience. It took scholarship and good people for me to be schooled. And so I built my passion from that. So when I see people who, one way or the other, could not access education, I try to always want to help. So at that point, I didn't have enough money. Of course, I wanted to contribute physically and see how I can volunteer. But of course, see, it's someone that is eating well. But now instead of volunteering, of course, every year I try to. Last year I think I funded 500 JAM students.
Wow.
So this year,
That's
it's close to my
commendable.
birthday. I will also look for a need to fill in the life of somebody. So I'm doing that with my money. I think that's
Your money
also
is
that's
helping
also
your passion.
fulfilling my passion. Yeah.
Yes. So we have another one from one of our viewers, and it says, and I think you've partially answered this, so I'll just throw it to Bayo. It says, please, what is the role of parenting on your mindset when you were growing up? How did your parents influence your mindset?
Let me say this. One day my mom went out and she came back and she called me. I said, by the way, she called me Tunde. And she was like, Tunde, come. She was like, today I was coming back and I saw something on a BRT bus. I was like, what's that? She said, think big. I was shocked. And then, my mom is a believer. She doesn't believe that there's something I cannot do. So let me just say a few things about my mom. My mom didn't have a secondary school education, but my mom has been to over 5 to 7 countries. She sells clothes. She believes there's no way I want to get to that I can't get to. She's that woman that believes anything is possible.
Shout out Bayo's mom.
So she just believes that you can do it. And I got that from her. So whenever I want to do anything, I just believe it is possible. So parenting, the role of parenting is very, very key. I say this to people. People don't learn by what you say. They learn by what they see. The best form of learning is observation. So let me give you an example. If you tell a baby to sit, the baby won't sit. But when you sit and you ask the baby to sit, what the baby will naturally sit. Is important. Why do you think babies kneel when you are praying? It's not because you are praying, that's why they are kneeling. They are kneeling because they've seen you kneel while you pray. So don't tell your children what you want them to do. Do what you want them to do, then they will learn.
That is phenomenal. That is really phenomenal. So you said that you lost your parents when you were quite young. What was your influence? What influenced your mindset?
Well, I think that my mindset was influenced by the society from the onset. So I don't want to delve so much into my story, but at some point, at my elementary stage, I had to be selling meat. Like I was selling meat like a butcher. So I was working with my boss who packs some meat for me. Then I'll go and deliver it to different restaurants. But what inspired me was one of those days when I went out and I saw a kid in school uniform with pinafore and the full flags. And I said that I also want to be like this child. And I ran to my grandfather's place. And then that was when they took me to school.
That was when primary 4 started.
Yes.
Wow. So this story is phenomenal. So maybe one day we'll invite you for a different topic. And so this is not just, Elsie, this is not just Aspire to Perspire. But before we run out of time, I just want you to give 1 minute each to just look at the youth out there and then give them a word or the importance of mindset and how it relates to, conquering the economic challenges to becoming successful.
Yeah, for me, I just want to say that I know that this is Nigeria, and the last time I saw my friend was in South Africa, I think last 2 weeks, and we heard of, even though they say South Africa is bad, we saw the thing that the government still do for them every day and every month, and average South Africa earns 300 rand. That's 300 times 33. You can know the figure. Imagine an average Nigeria earning about maybe 15,000 monthly. That's enough. At least there's still something that comes to people. So this is a society that looks as if everything is against you. NEPA is against you. The road is against you. The government is against you. The news are against you. You should not even wake up saying, tuning in to know what is happening. You are discouraged, naturally discouraged. But the thing is that excuses are good reasons for bad results. That even when those excuses are not there, you will still have failed. So imagine that you were supposed to get to work by 8, and you woke up maybe by 5 or 6, and you go to work by 9, and your boss calls you and says, why are you coming late? You're like, sir, there's traffic. Well, that is valid. But it still does not change the fact that if you are woken up by 3, you'll have gotten to work on time. So there is a lot of stuff happening in Nigeria. But see, Dangote does not have 2 heads, and it came out from a woman. And with Dangote can do successfully in this country. I, Lukman, Shobowale, Lawal.
Yes, man.
It is who we know it that will know it. Me.
You is.
Okay,
Please, let's hear from the law. Can you just for 30
for that?
Please, we should. So, for 30 seconds, please just tell us why you are called the law. I was going to ask you that.
My name is Lawal, Bayo Lawal.
Yes.
So at the beginning of my life, I was always, by the way, I was raised by a single mom. So I was always asking for the meaning.
Shout out again to your mom.
I was always asking for the meaning of Lawal. And the only meaning I got is that when you spell it from the beginning and when you spell it backward, you get the same thing.
Okay.
So I removed the first 2 letters to get something. So the meaning of law is life at wonderful expense. So that's the meaning.
Life
guys
at wonderful
amazing.
expense. You guys are amazing.
Guys
You're
are
the epitome of mindset.
Okay, let me just say this to an average Nigerian out there. So what I want to say to you is this. If you think you can, you are right. If you think you cannot, you're right. The choice is yours. Thank you.
Wow, you have heard it from Elsie. Do you think you can polish anything? Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
It has been an exciting show. And what have we heard today? That you would think that your mind is a little thing, but your mind controls your whole body. I don't know if you've heard the wonderful stories that I've heard today, from becoming someone that self-meets to telling yourself that I can become what I want to become, from getting that mindset right. We have 2 wonderful young men today that has not even scratched where they're going to.
Yeah.
You have heard it all. Protect your mind. If you're not using mindset before, please have a growth mindset. Now, thank you again for coming.
Thank you so
thank
much
you
for
one more
having
time for coming. Shout out to your mom over and over again. Please, when you go home, give her a kiss for me.
I hope she's watching. We love you.
Yeah, and please come again when we invite you.
Sure.
Ways was bettered from the need to inform, inspire, influence life towards action. And this year, we started our CSRO focus on curbing unemployment in Nigeria. If you're a company, please partner with us by allocating internship slots. And if you're a job seeker, keep watching Ways and follow us on all our social media handles. This will be an all year round engagement. So tell a friend to keep all eyes on Ways. Again, our quote, the business environment is always challenging, but if you have a good strategy, there is gold in all of this. And the young man from today has proven what John Bass said. So see you on Monday at 8 p.m. when we bring to you another great conversation. It's good night from all of us here. Bye.